I had a client one time in a suspension hearing look at me and say, I thought this guy was my friend, talking about the dean. And it was really heartbreaking because you see a 15-year-old and he thought, well, this is an adult that I care about, who cares about me and trusts me. And here they were facing off against each other in this trial. Even if the suspension works out and he goes back to school and maybe he doesn't get suspended, he's never going to have that relationship again. And that's really devastating.
In the 2013-14 school year, there were 53,504 total suspensions across New York City's 1,800 district public schools. The issues of student discipline and school climate have major impacts on the culture of a school. A survey of E3 New York educators shows that 65% of teachers say that student discipline is a challenging issue in their schools. 3/4 of those surveyed say they know teachers who left the profession because of student discipline issues. The current policies are clearly not working.
I think suspensions are a terrible way to teach a student what's right and what's wrong. I think if a student does something wrong, suspending them from school won't teach them anything, and so they're not really getting anything out of it. If you tell the student what they're actually doing wrong, they'll learn from it.
When you look at school climate, we're really talking about how to make students feel safe and supportive in school, how to create a nurturing environment where students can be themselves, students can express themselves, knowing that, that they're going to be supported by the adults in the building.
I think a good school culture is where it's more than, okay, this is a person that I see 5 days a week for 6 hours. It's also about, this is a person that I work with, I collaborate with, and I do more than just schoolwork with them. I can also laugh with them, become friends with them.
There's a student at my school, and he would absolutely benefit from some more positive behavioral interventions. He's spent most of the year in the hallway or out on suspension, and it's because teachers don't know how to interact with him. We don't know how to get him back in the classroom. We don't know how to positively support him, so he ends up feeling frustrated, we feel frustrated, and we just don't know what else to try.
A student of mine, I taught him last year, did very little because he came from a school that had a very poor climate, and he wasn't really used to the climate of this school. So it sort of took him a year to just get acclimated to the new climate. And then this year, just complete turnaround. He is more willing to do his homework. He comes after school to get help. He's just more positive.
Over the past several months, numerous teachers came together through an E4E New York teacher policy team. During the course of writing this paper, E4E members came up with recommendations focusing on support, innovation, transparency, and accountability to ensure that we create safe learning environments without exclusionary discipline policies.
My favorite recommendation, though, that's most important to me, is transmitting and disseminating the information on positive behavior intervention strategies that teachers can use. There's a lot of people doing great things, and other teachers don't know about it.
One recommendation from the paper that's important to me is for students who are suspended to have a reintegration process where they sit together and have a meeting of how to avoid the behaviors that happen and create a social emotional plan. When they have to come back to school, they're just put back into the classes, and there hasn't been that time for them to mend their differences with the other students who they had a problem with.
In our recommendations, we talk about prioritizing additional training for evaluators and mentors, about giving very specific feedback to teachers. Feedback is really meant to make sure that you are identifying what you're really strong at and then what you need to grow in.
We need more counselors, right? The counselors here are just inundated with too high of caseloads. I think that they need to focus on a smaller group of kids so that they can really have a bigger impact.
With these recommendations, E4E New York members are looking to bring awareness to the issue of school climate and the impact that improved policies can have on their students and their professions.
So in every school, there's a committee that's supposed to be dealing with school discipline and school climate. You can volunteer to be on that committee. I think that when this report comes out, it'll be a great opportunity for teachers to encourage a conversation with their school administrators about discipline in their school, about what they like and what they don't like.
Teachers are the first line in terms of building a positive culture and climate. It all starts in the classroom. It all starts with the interaction between the teacher and the student.
Teachers have a major role to play in advocating for a changed approach to school climate and discipline. I think nobody has more credibility than a teacher to really go out there and say, I want a change in my school, or I like the way things happen in my school. I've seen this work, I haven't seen this work. I mean, we really need people on the ground to be part of the discussion and to speak out about what's wrong. A lot of times when I see people defend high suspension rates in the newspaper and such, they say that teachers, want it this way. And I think I've talked to too many teachers that don't want it that way, then I'm really not content just leaving it at that. I hope that the teachers who want to see a change speak up and let that be known. And I'm excited to see this paper come out and to have that happen.
New York City students and teachers deserve schools that are safe, supportive, non-exclusionary, and conducive to learning. We know that this is possible.
I had a student my first year here who stole money from me, came into my unlocked classroom, went into my bag, took money out of my wallet. I knew who had done it. So I confronted her, or I went to her and I said, I think you took money from me, did you? And she said yes. I couldn't believe it. I talked to her about how much it upset me, it made me feel violated, etc. I told her how I felt. And then we talked about what she could do to make up for that. And so she worked for me. She worked cleaning tables, dusting my classroom, 7 hours, because at minimum wage that would about make up how much she stole from me. Of course, in the 7 hours that she worked for me, we built this relationship. It was my first year teaching here. She graduated last year. We were incredibly close for 3 years. If I didn't work in a school like this, I wouldn't know that that's an option. I wouldn't know that there are other ways to deal with a discipline problem that can lead not only to non-negative results, but to extremely positive results.